Sora gets a much better start to this journey. He's visited by the king, which means that Riku must also be out of the realm of darkness, and he's given all the information about his main enemy, Organization 13, that's available. Maleficent reappears later, but she's only a minor inconvenience and actually helps Sora later on. Taking in all the news about his new enemy and following Jensen's guidance, Sora, Donald, and Goofy go from world to world destroying Heartless, opening gates, not closing keyholes, and stopping Organization 13's plans in each world. The game doesn't have a defined place they're heading to, as they don't know where the world that never was is, so they just go where the Keyblade takes them. Because of this, I think it's why we see Sora acting a bit more silly, trying to enjoy himself more than he did in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories. I can only name a few instances before this game where we see Sora acting this silly. He gives Donald shit about hitting him as a Heartless in Chain of Memories. One of his reasonings for helping Jack in Kingdom Hearts 1 was to see the Heartless dance. He did a goofy smile and just kinda laid on Donald and Goofy when he fell on them in Neverland. In comparison to this game, Sora mocks Leon, makes funny faces, crashes a dance party, chases Phil and Abu around, sings, gets super excited about being a pirate and seeing Santa, gets into a fist fight with Yao, almost gets into a fight with Cypher, and wants to be king of Pride Rock. And in my favorite addition to Sora's character, he's sassy. He sasses Riku, Mickey, Beast, Barbossa, Xigbar, Demyx, Sark, Maleficent, Pete, Ursula, Hades, which holy fuck Sora, that's a god you're sassing, the Peddler in Agrabah, and Jafar. The sass to Jafar is my favorite, by the way. Don't mess with street rats. Granted, manga Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 shows this level of silly and sass, but game-wise it's more prominent in 2. And it appears we're seeing it return in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm so happy. This kind of sass was only seen twice before Kingdom Hearts 2 from what I can find, to Riku and Vexen. As for why Sora suddenly got sassy, I think it's a combination of him enjoying himself and his confidence. Sora's obviously confident enough to take these people on verbally and physically, but doesn't seem as overly confident as he was in Chain of Memories. I don't know if it's just me, but I get a different vibe from Sora's confidence between the two games. In Chain of Memories, he almost seems cocky, like he was sure he could beat anyone no sweat. He's like that in 2, but it just doesn't seem the same. Almost mellower. And I think this has to do with his experience in Castle Oblivion. While Sora isn't supposed to remember what happened there, we do see him exhibit similar behavior in this game as he did in Chain of Memories. The message of Chain of Memories was that what's forgotten isn't lost. So the experience of Castle Oblivion still remains in Sora's heart, and this mellowed confidence could be a result of the lessons he learned. He's matured a bit. Thank you, Teal, for the help with this, because you literally put my thoughts into words. Thank you. But even though he's confident enough to goof off and throw shade, Sora still takes his position as a hero seriously. Any sign of Organization 13 and it's all business. He's guarded, ready to fight, but not engaging unless people around are safe or he's attacked first. And when someone looks like they're in trouble, Sora rushes to help. His efforts eventually earn him a place in the stars as a true hero. Took you long enough, Zeus. Despite all that, Sora doesn't really get any new information on the organization, Riku, or Mickey until the second visit to Hollow Bastion. And just before that, Sora learns that Kairi was kidnapped. And Sora is really sad about all this. Like, he's crying in the gummy ship, thinking that it was all his fault because he's the key that connects everything. He gets a pep talk from Donald and Goofy, but now Sora has gotten desperate. With no computer skills, he tries to use Ansem the Wise's computer to figure out where the entrance to the Realm of Darkness is so that he could go there and find Riku and Kairi. He considers jumping into a dark portal to follow Saïx to the world that never was. He begs Axel to tell him where Kairi is, and he begs on his knees in front of Saïx to be led into the Realm of Darkness to find his friends. Every time he asks someone about Riku, they don't know where he is. And Mickey says he can't help either. By the third visit to Twilight Town, Sora is grasping at straws just to make himself sure that Riku and Kairi are okay. Especially for Riku, whom he hadn't found any clue until Mickey let slip of his promise. There were instances where Sora was on the fence about whether he was seeing Riku in Hollow Bastion and the Land of Dragons, but Saïx's taunt of something happening to Riku and Roxas claiming he defeated Riku didn't help Sora at all. And also by the third visit to Twilight Town, Sora has shown some fatigue. Aladdin saw it and tried to comfort him. Sora makes a comment about whether he'll ever see his home again in Port Royal. Also in Port Royal and the end of the second visit to Hollow Bastion, Sora is frustrated at helping the organization when he's trying to help other people. He's been at this for over a year now. It's understandable that he's getting frustrated. Something else happens to Sora in Hollow Bastion, and a lot of people point this out. Sora begins to treat the members of the organization with an extreme amount of hostility. He picks on Demyx for his strength, constantly pointing out that nobodies don't exist and don't have hearts, calls Xemnas nobody in a way that almost sounds racist. And I'm pretty sure that he was going to cuss out Saix after begging. A lot of people have said that this is out of character for Sora, especially when we consider the beginning and end of the game where Sora seemed sad that nobodies didn't exist, and when he tried to reason with Xemnas by getting him to remember what emotions other than anger or hate he felt as a somebody. And they're right, this is very out of character for Sora, unless we consider the conditions in which the behavior arose. He learned that a friend whom he deeply cared for was being held captive by members of the organization, who he knew or had a suspicion they were different beings from him, and were trying to use his power for whatever goal they had. And after he battles the first organization member he encounters after learning this news, he remains angry and wants to fight anyone in his way. This should sound familiar. It's exactly how Sora acted after learning about Naminé. Like, even their angry movesets are the same after the battles with Larxene and Demyx. So it's not actually out of character. We're seeing the re-emergence of the anger Sora showed in Chain of Memories, and Saix confirmed this by stating that Kairi was the fire to Sora's anger, and keeping her locked up would keep him angry, causing him to defeat more Heartless. And because Sora's memories are not being tampered with this time, his anger doesn't last, and he's much more willing to listen to his friends. Strangely enough, Sora doesn't show this hostility towards Axel, even after discovering that he was the one who kidnapped Kairi, and even accepts Axel's help later on. Not exactly too hard to figure out, this is because of Roxas, whose emotions and memories have been shown to affect Sora in Twilight Town. Later on, Sora learns that he has a nobody, and wants to meet him, not knowing he already had and fought against him. When they meet before the final battle, no words are exchanged, and Sora would have to wait another year before getting to actually talk to Roxas. Also before the final battle, Sora finally sees Naminé again, but doesn't appear to remember her. But after that meeting, Sora said that he wanted to thank her, but couldn't until he knew that all dangers were dealt with. So Sora does seem to remember her, but wanted to make sure that nothing got in the way of him fulfilling his promise to her. But since she reunited with Kairi, he never got the chance. Speaking of reunions, we finally get to talk about the reunion of Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Knowing that Kairi was safe up until her kidnapping, seeing her not only okay in the world that never was, but also kicking ass with the Keyblade, Sora is extremely happy. But hearing that Kairi began looking for him and Riku, Sora feels extremely guilty. He worried Kairi, felt that he was the reason that she was in danger, and didn't even get any info about Riku. But Kairi doesn't care, she's just glad that Sora is there, and gives him a hug. She also doesn't care, because she actually found Riku first! Sora's reaction to being reunited with Riku is a lot more emotional than his with Kairi, which for some reason people attribute that to Sora not caring about Kairi as much as Riku, which is really fucking stupid. And it's also the reasoning that Riku had for betraying Sora, which was also fucking stupid. I emphasized that up until the second visit to Twilight Town, Sora knew Kairi was safe, and once he knew she wasn't, he went Chain of Memories level mad. And when they were finally reunited, Sora saw that she was unharmed, and it was, that's it. She was unharmed, she was great, she was fine, he was glad. But with Riku, from the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 until now, Sora had no definitive proof that he was even okay. He spent so much time looking for his best friend since childhood, who was swallowed by the darkness at one point, and who no one aside from Mickey was able to confirm to have seen. And when they're finally reunited, Riku has taken on Ansem's form, indicated that he still needed the darkness to fight. And because of this, Riku didn't want to be found, making it that much harder on Sora. But just knowing that Riku was okay, and in front of him, Sora broke down, as he and anyone should when being reunited with their best friend that way. It's a huge weight off of Sora's shoulders. Now all they have to do is defeat the remaining organization members, and they can all go home. The post-final Xemnas fight scenes are some of my favorite scenes in the game, and contain the most heavy implications for Sora's character. And I'm shocked at how no one else I've encountered has noticed them. So, Xemnas gets his shit kicked in and the boys are trapped in the realm of nothingness. Alright, cool. Riku, injured and tired, doesn't see a point in continuing on as the darkness will eventually swallow them. Sora, always thinking positive, picks Riku up and begins walking, hoping that they'll eventually find a way out. It's here that Riku realizes that Sora is stronger than he is, in physical strength, in resolve, and in heart. And Sora, unlike Riku, is able to see a path forward. The statement, "I always thought I was better at stuff than you," is Riku's admission that Sora was able to do something he couldn't, and was stronger than Riku. And later, Riku admits that he was actually envious of Sora's follow-his-heart mentality and easygoing personality. Sora is stunned. He couldn't understand how Riku, whom he admitted to admiring and wanting to be like, could be jealous of him. And hearing how much Riku appreciated him, Sora responds with, "I guess I'm okay the way I am." This is the biggest implication that no one seems to get. What this line means is that up until now, Sora did not like himself in some way. He had confidence in himself, sure, and he realized he was important to saving countless lives, but he did not think he was cool enough or whatever for Riku to be jealous of him. Whatever it was, his hair, the way he talked, his personality, it doesn't matter. What matters is that Sora had issues accepting himself. I was so stunned when hearing this line. All I could think of was, how could you not like Sora? The kid is a precious ball of sunshine. How could he not like himself? Well, the thing is, despite all he went through, Sora is still just a teenager. A giant key sword-wielding teenager, but a teenager nonetheless. He's had to deal with friend issues, taking on new responsibilities, leaving home for the first time, and unbeknownst to us until now, issues with accepting himself. Take away the magic and very extreme circumstances, and we see that these are all normal situations for a teenager or a young adult to deal with. I'm still dealing with this shit. There's always something about ourselves we don't like, be it how we look, how we act, whatever. It's normal. It feels really shitty, but it's normal. And it takes a lot for us to be okay with some part of us that we don't like. And sometimes it just takes someone saying something we needed to hear, even though we didn't know we needed it. And that's what Riku did for Sora. So Sora, at the edge of the realm of darkness, after saving the world and his friends twice, finally realized that he was okay just the way he was. He didn't have to try to be someone else anymore. Just being him was fine. Speaking of acceptance and stuff being normal, it's also normal for us to waver in our beliefs and accept that some things are out of our control. For Sora, this is when he looked out towards the endless sea in the dark margin. After all he'd done and all he had fought for, Sora saw no way forward. He and Riku were trapped in the realm of darkness. And Sora says, maybe the darkness has gotten to me too. Despite what many say about Sora, he's not one-dimensional. He's not untouchable when it comes to the darkness. Dream Drop Distance proves that. And he's not impervious to doubt. This isn't the first time Sora's questioned his role or his journey. Remember Port Royal and the aftermath of the Battle of 1,000 Heartless? To me, Sora is admitting that negativity and hopelessness, i.e. dark emotions, get to him. Sora's resolve weakened for only a moment. Then he saw Riku on the ground and rushed to help. Hearing Riku give up, Sora seemed like he was going to try and talk Riku out of it, but instead agreed with him. While not exactly giving up, Sora accepted that he and Riku were stuck on the other side, and that their role in the realm of light was finished, and that there was nothing else to do. It's beyond his control, and Sora accepts that, and whatever comes next for him and Riku. But if Sora basically gave up, how did his heart open the door to light? Kairi. Kairi is Sora's light within the darkness, and her letter reminded him that his journey wasn't over. He still had to bring Riku home and return the good luck charm to Kairi. The renewed resolve in his heart served as the light that opened the door and brought him and Riku home.